Hello and good afternoon to Elets eGov Innovation Talk, a segment where we feature industry stalwarts and leaders to listen and hear from them about, their visionary thoughts and their ideas about transforming their, various industries that they are present in. And joining us today, we have Ms. Rachna Kango, Head of Marketing Strategy Planning, Delta Electronics. Welcome, ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Garima. Pleasure is all mine, please. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Ma'am, to begin with, if we may know from you that how do you integrate sustainability goals and ESG considerations into the overall business strategy of Delta Electronics India, and how does it contribute to long-term success?
See, Delta as an organization, ESG and the sustainability, these are very inherent core values for us. Our mission is smarter, greener together. So everything that we do actually is kind of very, very related to the sustainability and ESG. All the products and the solutions that we give, they are energy efficient products. They help the end consumer to save the energy, being more energy efficient. So it is very, very inherent to our culture, if I can put it like that. Yeah. So secondly, whatever we do, all the buildings that we have 32 green buildings across world. We have built two green data centers. So that are some things which are, the roots or the fundamentals, and that clearly defines that we really walk the talk. And we follow, we are a member of RE100 also, so that we will be completely, dependent on the renewable energy by 2030. And I'm happy to share we have already achieved 55% of the target last year, and we are much ahead of our, commitments that we had given. So, whole in whole, we as an institution, we firmly remain committed to the sustainability in everything that we do, in every infrastructure that we build, and whatever products we give to our end customers, they are also very sustainable products and the solutions. I'll give you an example. Like, we have a product line which is power quality. So you know that our distribution system, there are a lot of harmonics in the distribution system. So what these harmonics do, they basically increase the T&D losses, that are transmission and distribution losses. So there is an energy loss. So our products basically stabilizes that harmonics, and hence they reduce transmission and distribution losses, so that the end customer gets a better power factor. So this is just one example. So we are in various fields. We are the front runners of EV chargers in India, having a substantial amount of market share in EV charging ecosystem. And EV charging again is a sustainable alternate to your mobility, and which is strongly driven by the government of India as well. So our management is very, very focused when it comes to sustainability, and also when it comes to sustainability of our end customers. So both are actually hand in gloves, and both are actually equally important. So, to answer your second part, that how it helps in the long term. So it surely helps any organization in the long term. While putting up some capex for these initiatives in the beginning might seem little cost heavy to you, might put some burden in terms of your money, in terms of your financial health. But going forward, there are very, very positive returns. If you invest now, you will realize after 5 or 6 years that the returns have started to come. You have made that impact not only financially to your company's balance sheet, but also to the environment. And that gives you two-sided benefit. One is, of course, you will get higher money or you will get better returns, but an emotional satisfaction to each and every employee of yours. So that is what I wanted to convey when you're talking about ESG and sustainability in relation to your business strategy.
Commendable, ma'am, and congratulations for for this visionary thought, and this futuristic thinking that that you're doing and your products are offering. I'm sure you've been asked this question many a times, but we'll ask you again. But as a woman leader in the field of ESG and strategic marketing, how has your experience influenced the integration of sustainability into Delta Electronics India's business strategy?
That's an interesting question, actually. Uh, Women leader is something, I mean, that is debatable. I mean, it's the same actually. It hardly makes a difference. But with the value addition that a woman for sure brings to the table when it comes to sustainability, because I'm not differentiating here, but women in itself a little, she is a 360-degree thinker. She will think
Absolutely.
from start to end, and then she ensures the sustainability in her home as well, in her kitchen as well, right? And that is the mindset of women, which I don't want to say it is different from men. Men are also like that, but because we take care of our household, and traditionally girls have been taking care of the households. Things have changed dramatically now. It's not the same right now, but the traditional mindset was like that. We have seen our mothers or grandmothers doing like that, taking care of everything, not wasting anything, making the use of last inch, even if something is you want to throw it, they don't throw it. They will use it in some another thing. They will just not throw the plastic bottle. They use it as a planter. Some things they used to do, right? And we have learned from there. So as looking as a head of sustainability here, I always think this culture or this organization as my home. If we are doing something, if we are producing something in our factories, what are we generating as a waste? Can we utilize it? Can we recycle it? How much water, as a waste we are segregating from our factories? Can we recycle it? How can we recycle it? Of course it can be recycled in the flushes, to the least, right? There are various methods and the means which are available in the market. So but you have to think in that direction. So being a woman always helps you to have that holistic view. Again, I want to reiterate, I'm not suggesting that men do not have that holistic view, but we traditionally, coming from that mindset, have that inheritance of thinking and making everything count. So that helps us. And that also helps us to give a logical reasoning to our management when we are asking them some amount of money for some project which is important for sustainability. Uh, that gives us a logical reasoning. We can put our proposal in a much refined way, in a much convincing way, and then that's how we can convince them to invest in that. That's how it helps actually.
Wonderful. I'm sure there must have been certain challenges also, you must have faced, while initiating all these, measures and initiatives. So if you could tell us a few of them, and how you overcame them.
See, challenges are not one in this field. That challenges are many. And we have just started to speak about ESG and sustainability. When you are seeing the global warming actually happening across the world, and this year, I would say that mankind have actually witnessed global warming. You have seen the
Yes.
seasons changing a lot, actually. You can see the length and breadth of our country, how we are suffering from the floods and unseasonal rains, how the food inflation has gone up. This is why this is happening. All this is happening because we have not taken care of the Mother Earth at the right time with the appropriate steps. And lately, only, I think 2, 3 years back, only organizations and all the people are becoming more and more aware of the sustainability, right? And if we don't think now, I mean, these whatever greens you are seeing will be the things of past 100 years or 200 years, beyond. So it's a high time we all have to start working towards it. And the corporates who have the big pockets, who have the power to influence this, should be the front runners or should be the first runners in it, right? Of course, when you speak about challenge, there is no instant ROI. If you put something today, it will not give you an instant ROI, or even 4 5 years. It will, if you think that if you put an energy storage system, or if you put a STP plant, you will not have a quantifiable ROI. That you have to forgive. Just forget about it. So that being a challenge, when you can't justify with a proper ROI, how will you convince them to put the money? So that is the biggest challenge which every sustainability person across the world I think is struggling with. But again, we should not see the short-sighted effects. We should see much longer effects, not to the organization, not to your limited surroundings, but to larger mankind. So that is, I would say, if you ask me, challenge. Then this is the biggest challenge for every sustainability person. Second challenge, I'm generalizing here. I'm not talking about my organization in specific, because I interact with many sustainable people across India and across organizations. So I know that there are some common, things which everybody is struggling with. Second is to get an appropriate data. How can you work on something when you don't have a quantifiable numbers to that? And
Absolutely.
since we have just started talking about sustainability, uh, the numbers, the credibility of those numbers is still to be established. Uh, there's a lot of manual things going on which we have to completely automate so that the numbers are credible and you can work and build a foundation on that. So I think every organization who is starting with ESG has to spend 1 or 2 years to just baseline on the numbers, to have your fundamentals correct, have your baseline numbers, and then work towards improvement. So that is the second biggest challenge that is faced by each and everyone. And actually doesn't matter how big or the small organization is. This is a challenge which is throughout the industry actually. Yeah, so that were two
Right.
things that I wanted to highlight here.
Right, ma'am. So, in terms of, your organization, so what are the various strategies and initiatives that you have implemented to create awareness and, drive engagement among employees and stakeholders regarding sustainability and ESG goals?
Yeah, so when as a company I consider Delta as a very forward company, a very advanced company in terms of ESG. We have CDP accreditations, we have DGSI accreditations, so we are way ahead. Uh, and to communicate that properly to your employees is the biggest thing, because I firmly believe, because they are your brand ambassadors. If you tell them properly, they will actually give you a lot of word of mouth than any other social campaign or any other digital media campaign. So every organization has to completely make their employees aware of all the sustainability activities that are happening. If you ask me, how do I communicate to them? We engage them. If we are doing some CSR activity, it will not be a department's activity. It will be entire organization's activity. They will be volunteering themselves to do some kind of things in the schools or in medical, whatever campaign we are running, whatever CSR activity we are doing. Let's say we had a plantation drive. We had a plantation drive and we gave the seedlings to all the employees. Some of the employees came back to us with the pictures of the plants which had now grown to full-fledged, small herbs or the small plants with the roses and all these things. So that gives you immense pleasure. And then we put these pictures on our internal communication channels that so and so person actually took it so seriously and they did it. Recently, we ran a campaign in our own company wherein we asked people to share one story with us, how they have contributed towards sustainability. And you won't imagine, Garima, the kind of response that we got and the kind of ideas that we got. Somebody was saying that every Thursday he wears khadi clothes because that is
Okay.
sustainable. You can't even imagine. Everybody says
Yes,
that they have stopped using one-time plastics, or they have stopped using. They just switch on the light whenever they are not in the room. Such kind of things will come, which are more generic. We know it, but it's the question of implementing it. But some of the things were actually very new and innovative to me. Like this khadi one was this gave me an idea that why don't we start a khadi day, like we have a casual day, right, on Friday.
absolutely.
Then why
Yes,
can't we start a khadi day when it will be so close to our own culture, and it will be a sustainable way as well. Then there was another suggestion that they have started using only sustainable brands. for the cosmetics. So they
Mhm.
actually spend that much time, and they kind of find out that which organization is using completely sustainable ways to produce cosmetics. So when you get these answers, you feel that people are really caring. They are listening, they are hearing you, and then they are okay to contribute. It's just that everybody needs that nudge, and that nudge has to come from maybe outside, inside, but the nudge is missing only. Otherwise, there is no dearth of good ideas. And if you appreciate those ideas, then they will be motivated to do even more. So that's the
Absolutely.
strategy which we as a company like to follow.
Absolutely wonderful. So good to hear, such innovative ideas coming up. Now, this is,
Yeah.
internal communication and, enlightenment. But what about, communicating externally beyond your organization? So, how do you take this message beyond the organization?
Sure. All being said, our bread and butter is external organization, right? They are our customers, vendors, and all these things. And if they are not convinced that we are a sustainable organization, and especially in these scenarios, uh, it will be nothing but a loss to us,
Mhm.
right? There will be, and when we are doing so much, why not communicate it properly, right? To external communication. And digital today is a media which everybody is, aggressively following. And so much so, I say about digital marketing or the digital campaigns, you cannot little or belittle the importance of it. So we make it a sure point that whatever we are doing, we create nice EVs, nice videos out of it. We give it to our customers. We put it on the digital media. Like let's say our variable drive installations across the country, they have saved some amount of carbon footprint. We will quantify that. We will, make them aware that because of this installation, you have saved this much of carbon footprint. So whenever you communicate to your external vendors, they are not interested in the stories, Garima. Let me tell you, they are more interested in the numbers. How
Absolutely.
much was the impact in the carbon footprint? If it is quantifiable, that's what it matters. So whenever I'm communicating externally, be it through digital media, be it through print media, be it through the newsletters, be it through the WhatsApp marketings, be it through the AVs that we show to our customers, all will be with the numbers. If they have done something with our products, we will tell them that how much energy you have saved, how much energy efficient you have become. So that is, so there are two parts of this. This is what I'm talking about is on the products or the solutions that we have given to them. But to get their confidence that we are a sustainable organization, we continue to tell them about our own green initiatives. Like as I said, we are RE100 compliant organization. We are having green buildings all across. So we will make them aware about all these things in the corporate presentations, in the corporate videos. So whichever chance we get to meet our customer, we will make sure that this message is percolated down. And the trend is changing now. Now, instead of you asking your customer is asking you, give
Mhm.
me the certificate. Are you compliant with this? Do you have a CSR policy? Do you have a mineral conflict policy? Do you have you done your governance checks or not? So this is actually going other way around now, and it is the responsibility of the organization to make their customers and vendors aware about their sustainability practices before your customers or the vendors reach out to you to ask those documentations. You have to necessarily give them that information beforehand. So that is very important actually. So I will say, when you talk about communicating it to the external customers, it's not an option now, rather it's a necessity. It's a necessity which is very very strong in these days. Yeah.
And I think their proactiveness is actually making the process more, dynamic. Uh,
True, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So, just one last thing, looking ahead, how do you see the future of sustainability and ESG initiatives, in the coming times?
When it comes to sustainability, for sure you will have a manpower crunch. You will not have enough people to run the sustainability in the organization. It's a new thing. People have just started to learn about it. You will have a serious talent crunch if you want to hire somebody for the sustainability, especially at the entry levels or at the mid levels. That will be one problem. Secondly, going ahead 5 to 10 years, you will see the actual results of all the initiatives that are being run by various organizations. So all the organizations, if you pick up newspaper, if you read any annual report of good organization, all the initiatives that are running today have a culmination period of 5 to 10 years. So the results will start coming. Probably hands crossed, fingers crossed. Maybe you will see reverse in the air quality, in the global warming after 10 years, because majority of the organizations by then will be completely dependent on the renewable energy for their factories. They will be adopting more and more sustainable practices, and in my view there will be a reverse after 10 to 15 years, when all the projects will be over. And you have new technologies coming up, like green hydrogen is the talk of the town now,
Right,
which is a
right,
very sustainable way. Maybe after 5 6 years you will have sufficient green hydrogen for your vehicles, right? You will not have
Mhm.
to depend on EVs, because EV are sustainable compared to the conventional fuels. Of course, they are much more sustainable. They have lesser carbon footprint. But again, if we are producing power from the grid, from the renewable, from the coal or the conventional fuel, then still you are having some carbon footprint. But if
Right,
the technology like green hydrogen is taken ahead, then it will be almost emissionless. So such
right.
kind of technologies I for sure see emerging going forward, and this place will be hopefully a better place to live in the future.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of hope, and considering the initiatives and innovations that organizations like you are bringing, I'm sure we have a lot to look forward to. So, thank you so much, Rachna. It was wonderful talking to you and knowing about the various innovations that you're offering, to the people at large. So, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Garima. Thank you so much for having me.